Hey everyone, it's Thursday, so that means it's time for another Tune-Up Thursday, and these are videos that we put together to help you to take care of your marriage. Now we are in week 11, yes, week 11 of our journey through 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verses 4 through 8, and we can kind of see the finish line. We're almost finished. We're almost there. But today in week 11, we're looking at in verse 7 where it says, love believes all things. Now remember, this is a love that God has for us, and it's a love that God calls us to. So He empowers us to do this because we can't do this on our own. And we said that Paul, what he does is he defines love by telling you what it is or what it does. He also defines it by telling you what it's not. And but this is definitely one of those things that it does. And so when we talk about love believes all things, here's what I want you to know. What that means is that love sees the best in others. Now remember, we're looking at this through the filter of our marriages. And so that means that you see the best in your spouse. You give your spouse the benefit of the doubt. You're choosing to believe in the best. In other words, you're not immediately being critical. You're not always assuming the worst. You're not always going towards negative, because that can be some of our tendencies, is to quickly go to the negative when something doesn't go the way we thought it should, or their reaction's not what we thought it should be, or they don't, something's not right. So we immediately assume something's wrong. What did you do? Why are you angry? Why are you upset? Why were you late? And we just give it this negative definition. But love doesn't do that. Love chooses to believe the best. Now, it's not saying that you're just gullible and you live in this fairy tale land. It's not saying that you don't use your discernment that God has given you. It's not saying that you're not wise or choose to use wisdom. But what it is saying is that you choose to believe the best until you learn that the best was not really what was intended, okay? And so it causes us to ask these questions, okay? For an example, if something's going on that you don't feel is right in something your spouse says or how they react, instead of jumping to a conclusion, maybe ask yourselves these questions. Say, what's really going on here? What's underneath the surface? Did something happen that I don't know about? What's something that I don't see? Because I definitely have blind spots. And so maybe there's something else going on that I don't know that caused them to react the way that they reacted. We don't need to automatically take it personally, and which tends to be my default. If I sense any kind of negativity, it's like, well, why are you mad at me? What are you upset at me? What did I do wrong? And that's not healthy. That's just assuming the worst. But asking yourself, okay, what's happened? Did something happen at work? Did something happen in a friendship? Did something go wrong in an interaction that they had? Or is there a struggle that they're having right now? Is there something that's really weighing on them? Are they anxious about something? And when you ask yourself, here's what I also encourage you to do: ask your spouse to say, hey, tell me what's really going on. Because when you said this, or you did this, or you responded this way, this is kind of where I went in my brain, but I don't want to assume that's what's going on. I want to make sure I get the whole picture. And see, I believe if we did that in our marriages, I believe if we did that in all of our relationships, but especially in our marriages, we would be really slow to anger, and we would be really quick to listen. That may sound familiar because that's actually in Scripture. And so our first reaction doesn't need to be critical, but our first reaction needs to assume, okay, wait, there's got to be more here, or what's happening here? I want to assume the best. And oh, by the way, remember, I said this is a love that God has for us, and the love that He requires us to have for one another. And this is a love that He empowers us to do. So without God, we really can't do this. We can't do it well. We can't do it effectively. We can't do it the way that He's called us to do, because our initial reaction is to get mad. Our initial reaction is to assume the worst. Our initial reaction is to just say, okay, things are bad, all or nothing kind of thinking. But love believes all things means that love's going to assume the best until I realized that that's not really what was going on. So practice this in your home. Practice this and think about this in your own life. Say, in my marriage, do I constantly go negative first, or do I believe the best in my spouse? Let's decide now as husband and wife to believe all things. All right? Do me a favor. Like this video, share this video, and as always, please, please, please take care of your marriage.